Hi there, this is Tyler, and I am here at GauntletCon 2019. I have a wonderful crew playing Dream Apart, which is a phenomenal game. Right here, there it is. It is a derivative of Dream Askew by Avery Alder. Dream Apart is written by Benjamin Rosenbaum. It is right up my jam because it is historical gaming, but it's also fantastic. It is telling a story of a community surrounded by questions of what's going on, questions of the people that are different around them. And at the same time, it's also legends and traditions that take on the life of their own, ghosts that haunt a territory. It's frightening things that are in the forest that keep kids underneath their covers at night. It also has this kind of dreamy quality to it. It is named well because when I've played it before, it's not really that important what year it is. It's not even really that important where our little village is. It's almost like someone's coming back and telling the legends that they've heard from before and before and before. And so you'll sometimes have these characters that seem like they're, Middle Ages, and other characters that seem very much in the heart of the nationalist 1860s. But it all ends up working well together because this community, these legends, all create a bigger story. Now, this game is GM-less, which means we're all going to be GMing. And I've already spoken with the players here, and we've come up with some lines and veils, and we've come up with going through our safety tools, which, by the way, we use the Gauntlet inclusivity policy, and we have the X card on the table. GauntletCon, by the way, is put on by the Gauntlet gaming community. Awesome folks. If you're happening to watch this, you should go find us. You can find us at gauntlet-rpg.com. We do all kinds of cool stuff, and we play a buttload of games. If you like doing story games, come find us. Now, we're going to start building this world, and hopefully the idea here is we're going to come up with this amazing shtetl. We're going to come up with these interesting characters, and we're going to start having some scenes with them and see what our story plays out to. It's very possible that we won't come to a nice, clean, ribbon-tied-up bow ending. But I think we're all going to have some really neat emotional moments seeing these characters in their little community. So we're going to be looking at the shtetl here on our character keeper. And you see there we have blessings and curses. And this is going to help define our shtetl. And in the character keeper, they drop right down. And you can see what all of them are when you hit the little arrow. Since there are 4 of us, that means that we're going to pick 2 blessings. We're going to pick 3 curses. So somebody's going to get to pick 2. I'm going to suggest that I'm not the one that picks 2 because I'm facilitating already. So we'll go around, each of us picking 1, and then whoever has the coolest idea can pick the last one. And I'm just going to start clockwise around from me on my screen. So, Will, looking at curses and blessings, you've got the whole field open to you. What is it about our shtetl that makes it a little different?
Interesting. Looking at the blessings right now. I'm going to suggest that we have, interesting. I'm wondering about a secret benefactor, because that raises questions about who that benefactor is, about what strings they might have, what having that kind of influence outside the community might do for the community.
I think that'd be really cool. You want to pick that one as a blessing?
Sure.
Okay. Well, then that brings us to the question of, and I'll ask you to start it off with, and we'll have a little discussion about it. Who do you think that benefactor is?
So it could be a court advisor who is funneling influence to this particular community. Say there's a local king whose court advisor has the community's best interests at heart and is sort of bending the king's ear in a way that means that the village has a certain aura of protection. The fact that it's a secret benefactor seems relevant. It's not like a noble who has said this community is mine and nobody's going to touch it. It's somebody using their influence to make sure that the community is safe.
Okay, then I'll ask you, is it that a special protection is put up around it, or is it that the village is ignored?
Ooh, I like Walter's idea about the court advisor might be in love with somebody in the village.
Ooh, that's very nice. All right. Well, I'm going to continue around to ask you, Haley, a question to help define this. Is this benefactor one of us, one of the Goy, or do we not know?
I think if we look into Walter's idea that they're in love with someone in the village, maybe they are one of the Goy.
Ah, all right. Then I'll come to you, Walter. Does the person in the village love them back?
Interesting. I think I kind of want to avoid a solid answer on that and say that maybe the person in the village is like promised to somebody else.
All right. That's excellent. Okay. So our notes, Will, would you like to write in the notes on that one?
Sure, I can do that.
All right. So we have someone who is in love with someone here in the village. They are one of the Goy. They arrange for the village. Did we say they arrange for it to be ignored, or do they have a special protection up around it?
Maybe let's go with protection.
Okay. And the object of their love has already been promised elsewhere. And we'll tighten up that definition of who that is once we see a little more about our village. Let's go to you then, Haley. You're still wide open. Blessing or curse?
Let's have a war. Love me a good war.
Ooh. All right. Is this a war within, say, skirmishes between towns or lords, or is this like a national war?
I think it's a national war.
And I've mentioned I kind of see us in Russia. Do we like the idea of being Russian, or would we like to be somewhere else? What do you think, Ailey?
I like the idea of being Russian-ish. So we'd have to get into the specificities, but it's the backdrop setting. If that's cool with people.
Walter, is that good with you? We're part of the influence of the Tsar.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Will, good with you? Influence of the Tsar.
Sure.
All right. So someone on the other side of a border is now we're at war with. You know, we're all living in a village. We've never met those people before. We probably don't really want to war with them, but the Tsar has said we're going to war. Nice. So I'll ask, are we winning or losing, Walter?
Yeah. It's going horribly. In fact, there's rumors that the front might be moving disturbingly close to our village.
Ooh, I like that. Will, let's see. Does the village, do they support the war, or do they resent the men having to go fight it?
I would say resent, absolutely. They didn't call for this. They don't know who these people are. This is the Tsar's doing, and everyone is just sort of trying to withstand it.
All right. And Haley, this is your curse we've put down here. Is there a question you'd like to ask to help define it down?
Well, the question is, if we resent this war, who around us or inside us supports it, I guess.
So I would propose maybe that the wealthy support it, but the common men don't. How does that sound to folks?
Yeah, like maybe some of the wealthier people have noble or court connections, and they can sort of understand the politics of the situation, or at least they're following the politics of the situation. But it's a hard sell.
I like that. Walter, any thoughts?
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I can imagine that there's some of the wealthier people see some gain in the war, even losing it. Just the execution of the war might be winning them points in court.
Do you think that
the poor people, the peasants, the farmers are the ones who really suffer?
Do you think that includes even the wealthy here within the shtetl?
I don't see why not.
Okay. Excellent. All right. So, Haley, that seemed like a pretty good start off on our war curse. All right. If you'll
Sounds
write
great.
that stuff in. Walter, it's still wide open. Blessing or curse?
So yeah, let's see. I was you know what? The one really jumping out at me is haunting.
I love a good haunting.
I want supernatural to be involved for sure.
I agree. So, what do you think the nature of the haunting is? Is it something demonic? Is it ghosts? Is it...
I feel like ghosts. Yeah, definitely ghosts. There's more ghosts than usual. This shtetl's always had, ghosts, or at least stories of ghosts, but there's a lot more ghost going on than usual all of a sudden.
All right. Well, then, if this activity's rising, how is it manifesting? Are we seeing them? Are they in our dreams? Are things moving? How do we know the ghosts are walking amongst us?
Nobody is sleeping well, and the weather is unseasonably cold.
Ooh, I like that.
It's like the village is slowly grinding to a halt.
All right. So winter keeps holding on. We can't sleep. Haley, if it's ghosts, why are they coming back? Are they warning us? Are they frightening us? Are they vengeful? What do they want?
I like the idea that they're warning us.
Warning us. I like that too. All right. Well, Walter, any questions you want to ask to help define down, or you feel like that's played that one in?
Yeah, I like that. So I like that the season it's unseasonably cold, and there seems to be something very like supernatural about that cold. Like it just chills to the bone, no matter no matter how you bundle up, and that our sleeping is haunted with warnings. I love it.
Excellent. And of course, the Russians have always depended on Grandfather Winter when they're losing a war. So there's probably some folks who are thinking, "Wow, thank goodness it's cold. No matter, that'll stop them advancing." So there's, a little play on either side of that. All right, Walter, if you'll put that in. And I think that means that I have a blessing to pick or a curse. Oh, I think I'm going to take a blessing. I think I'm going to take an unprecedented opportunity. And I'm going to say that this unprecedented opportunity is with the army advancing. There's a very real chance that the borders could shift. So how we act now can, gain us favor to whichever side may, end up ruling the shtetl. We could see that the opposing army's better for us, or we could stand up against them and, foil their advance in a way that makes us much safer and much more favorably looked upon by our own country. Will, any question you'd like to ask about the unprecedented opportunity?
This isn't really so much as a question, but also thinking that war profiteering is a solid opportunity for gain if we're selling supplies to armies and providing logistical support.
Gotcha. So you're saying that, part of this is also we could be selling off our stuff to both sides if we need to.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if this is why the wealthy are supporting the war, because it provides opportunities for advancement, and it provides, there are needs that are to be met, and perhaps the shuttle's supplies can meet those needs.
Nice. All right. Haley, anything you'd like to find down or ask a question of?
Yeah. Well, firstly, what name are we giving to the other side in this war? And secondly, I'm interested in what rumor or gossip we've heard about them here. Like, what's the one thing we basically think about them?
I'm going to put down that they're the Habsburgs. I've always liked the Habsburgs in one way or another. So I think the opposing force is the Habsburgs, which is the Holy Roman, the Austrian Empire, but it's the Habsburgs. But, what is the rumors we're hearing about them? Walter, what do you think the rumors we're hearing about them are?
I think the rumors that we're hearing is that they have a very like a bit more of a culturally diverse kingdom domains that they rule under, and some of the soldiers and people we've met or heard stories from the Habsburg side, we hear stories. It sounds like they're a little more like lenient toward shtetls and maybe than the Tsar is.
Ooh, I like that a lot. Will, what other rumor do you think we've heard?
Well, my mind is still turning about what Walter said, and that there may actually be sympathizers in the village that want the front to pass the village, and that there's a rumor that somebody in the village might be providing information to the Habsburgs.
Ooh, that's a good rumor.
And maybe that shouldn't make it out to the Tsarist troops, because that could be bad.
Excellent. Oh, I like it. And I'll add one more rumor. The rumor is that that there are members of the faith, Jewish people in the Habsburgs who have reached high station. That they are, if not nobles, they are as wealthy as nobles if you live amongst the Habsburgs. All right, so I'm going to put down unprecedented opportunity being that the border may pass us and our lot will be better. The Habsburgs are more tolerant. We may find that's not true, but Habsburgs are more tolerant, and there are sympathizers. I know I'm spelling that wrong. Here in the shtetl.
Our blessings are somewhat at odds. That could be interesting.
Yeah. And there are Jews of high station in, I'm just going to put Holy Roman Empire, HRE. Which was historically true. I need to hit that as that. There we go. Someone who's better at making these things do stuff, if you can make it expand to where, thank you. I'm so terribly awful at that. All right. So that's all of us having picked one. We have a curse left. Of you three, anybody like the curses? We can. I
have something jumped out at me. I
Mhm.
feel like the benefactor needs something to work against, to actually be protecting us against, and I see the curse confiscations.
That's another way to get supplies for your army in a war.
Yes, it is. What do you think, Haley? Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
All right. So we figure that that's the Tsarists, Walter, that are doing the confiscations.
Huh. Interesting. I mean, not necessarily, but
Who do you think it is?
I mean, well, yeah. I think that makes sense. Yeah, I think the Tsarists are the ones that are making confiscations, just generally, right? I mean, it's yeah, maybe in the name of not only supporting the war effort, but even possibly there's a little fear that if the front does move, that the resources here will be used by their opponents. So they're kind of like, oh, well, we got to take everything you got of value and move it back toward Moscow.
Well, they're confiscating things, but are they taking them without any recompense, or are they actually leaving some payment, even if it's just script?
I think they are leaving some payment because one of the things that our benefactor is trying to do is trying to enforce some form of legal compensation or barter. Like the armies are provisioning themselves, they are paying the communities for the provision, and they don't always succeed because it's a lot easier for the army to just roll through and take what they need. But there's at least that pressure high up in the court in the czar's court to actually pay the Jews for what they're taking.
Mm. And Haley, I'm going to ask you a 2-pointer here. What have they taken that everyone is mad about? And what did they leave that everyone is grateful for?
In terms of taking that everyone is mad about, I think they took a particular food item that we need for a particular ceremony, and they completely cleared us out of this, and there's none to be found in the nearby area. And so what are we going to do? We can't go on without it. We have to get some from somewhere. I don't know what it should be, though. I don't have cultural knowledge.
Might I suggest that it is both the honey and the honeycomb? So it is both the honey that would flavor the bread for a particular. I'm trying to. I don't want to mangle anyone's culture, but there is a set. I don't think Passover would be appropriate, but there is a set tradition, especially in this village, where everyone would have their bread flavored with honey, and they would burn the candles from that same honeycomb.
Cool. That sounds great.
And of course, now that it's winter, they've taken these things and the bees aren't producing. So, what are we grateful for?
I think they left a person. Maybe somebody who was like the right age to be conscripted, and maybe they were conscripting people in the nearby areas, and they left somebody or bodies here.
You want to put somebody on the spot and have them tell us who it is?
Sure. I mean, if Walter or Will, if either of you have ideas about who they might have left.
The younger brother of the person the court advisor fancies.
Perfect.
That is perfect. All right, we all feel good about that. Is there anything else we'd like to know? Walter, that was your curse there?
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. I love your follow-up questions, Tyler. That's awesome.
All right. Well, sounds like then we know the curses and blessings of our shtetl, and I think we've come up with kind of a cohesive sort of world going on around us. There's some, everybody likes a good war drama, and there's romance, and there's all sorts of coolness going on. All right. Well, now that we have created our shtetl's blessings and curses, let's go back and let's look at our playbooks. Do any of these call out to anyone? I think they're all interesting. They all have neat things about them. I've been starting with you, Will, so I'll shift one over. Haley, is there a playbook that you particularly like?
Are we looking at the PC playbooks? Is that yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm looking at either the soldier, because who would want to be a soldier when there's a massive war brewing, or the matchmaker is the other option that I'm interested in.
Both of those are really cool ones. Walter? Any of them calling to you?
Yeah, the sorcerer. I'm feeling the supernatural tonight.
All righty. And Will, any of them calling to you?
I would say the soldier or the midwife.
All right. So we have two people thinking of the soldier. We have the midwife and the matchmaker. I think I would be interested in the scholar. So I'm not opposing on anyone, and Walter, you're not opposing on anyone. So we come back to you, Haley. Which of the two do you like most?
They both sound really great to me.
All right. Well, Will, which of the two do you like the most?
Oh, that's tricky. You were Haley. You were thinking of either the matchmaker or the soldier.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
We could flip a coin for the soldier.
I kind of want to see how the midwife handles the unseasonable cold and the hauntings, because that's a pressure on keeping people healthy.
Okay.
So
well, cool.
I'll take the midwife.
All right. So Haley, do you wish the soldier or would you rather the matchmaker? Soldier?
Yeah, soldier.
Excellent. All right. So take a look at your playbooks. I would say here before we start anything else, go through and look at those moves. Look at what your strong moves are, and especially look at what your weak moves are going to be. Because those weak moves, in a lot of ways, are going to drive this story. They're that opportunity for you to be vulnerable. And it builds up your currency so you can do your strong moves later. But without a doubt, this is written so those moves very much inform what your character is like. So we're going to take a look at those real quick. And then once you've got a chance to kind of look them over good, we're going to go up here and we're going to go through the origin, look, outlook, sort of questions that are up there. And I'm going to put my name and stuff because I'll talk and not do my stuff if I'm not careful. So while y'all are looking at that, I'm going to do my things real quick. And come up with a name for your character as well. All right. And so going into what it is that we're going to have for our characters, I'm going to have each of us read off the little paragraph that's right underneath where it says character and pronoun. And then you'll go ahead and I'd like to hear our origin, look, and outlook. And we'll go that down the line. So, Walter, you're first on the sheet. Why don't you read your little paragraph and tell us about your look, outlook, and all that stuff. You are muted, my love.
There we go. Thank you. So, my name is Tallman, the sorcerer. The world teems with spirits. They whisper in our ears. Devils that tempt us, angels that soothe, ghosts that hunger to seize back life. Everyone hears the whispers, whether they know it or not. The sorcerer whispers back. And then what else? You wanted me to add something else?
Go ahead, and your choices there that you have for origin, look, and outlook.
Oh, what did I choose? Oops, I didn't choose anything yet. I'm so bad.
That's okay.
Let's see. I'll just choose something quickly. Let's see. So, oh my God. Okay. So I have a Dead Twins Whispers.
Ooh.
Wait, how many of these do I pick? It gives me 5, but
You will go through all of those.
Oh, okay. I picked 2 of them. So wow.
Mhm.
So I get the Dead Twins Whispers, and oh my God, I got the better of a bargain. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I made a bargain with a spirit, a spirit who has long haunted our village. I think it's a spirit that everybody hears legends about in our village. It probably needs a name. If somebody wants to come up with a name for that spirit while I look up other things. So I have calculating eyes. I am. Darn. What are some of these words? Let's see. There's a glossary. Hold on a second. There's one of these. I was just looking at the glossary. One of the, I think it's an Illyrianist is like into, let's see. What's the glossary say?
Yes, there is.
Illyrianist is, believes that from human piety, there are mystical powers to heal the broken universe and its shattered divinity. That sounds good. I'm going to be Illyrianist.
Excellent.
What else? And and the last one, oh, the last one's blank. There's like no choices for it. So maybe I only have those 4. Or maybe the character keeper got broke for the last one.
Let me look real quick on your playbook. Here in the
2 scenes whose names I know. Oh, one of those is the one that I got the better the. Oh, wait a minute. Did Will, which character did you pick again?
I picked the midwife.
The midwife. Okay, excellent. Well, then naturally, I have to pick that one of the unseen whose names I know is the protector of childbirth.
Oh, wow.
And then let's see. Interesting. Oh, the Finder of the Lost. That's the ghost that has long been a spirit of our shtetl that we have legends about as well. Or maybe it's the protector of childbirth. No, I think it's the Finder of the Lost. And ooh, the protector of childbirth, and I have a Dead Twins Whispers. Oh, this is gonna be good. All right. Let's see what the spirits revealed to you. Oh my goodness. Ooh. Oh my God. The choices. Whoa. Let's see. My goodness, these are all good and all over the place. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, there's some really evocative stuff in here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. All right. I can't. They're all incredible. I don't know which one to pick. It's kind of out of left field, so I'm going to go with the spell for inducing passion, just because that has nothing to do with anything else that we've talked about before.
Nice.
Let's see. All right.
And then hold up on your key relationships. We'll have everybody do those in a moment.
All right. So that's enough of those. All right.
All right. So Will, Tova, why don't you tell us, read out your paragraph and then go through some of your choices.
Certainly. Birth is always in the shadow of death. Blood, pain, labor, Lilith plotting to steal infant breath. And yet, in that first breath, the world and all its joy are born anew. This is where the midwife stands in the balance. My midwife is Tova. She has stubborn hands. She is a Musar, and I only know that from I only know what that means from the glossary, which indicates that she is a proponent of introspection, self-criticism, and strict ethics.
Neat.
what she has seen recently is a desperate girl.
Ooh, is this desperate girl part of the shtetl, or one of the Goy, or a stranger completely?
I have two ways I could play this. One is it could be the object of the court advisor's affection, who seems to be caught in a very rough political situation.
Mm-hmm.
The other is that it is someone from outside the village who has possibly fled the war.
Ooh. Both those are cool. What do you think?
Let's go with the second of those. So somebody who's somebody. So I would say a girl who I believe to be Goyish, who has fled the fighting,
All
and
right.
who I'm currently keeping in my house.
And why don't you give her a name real quick, and then we'll move on. We'll learn more about her in play.
All right, I will give her a Russian name. Meanwhile, I will note that my advantages are an unreadable expression, which may be difficult for me to roleplay, but we'll see, and a keen sense of smell.
Awesome. All right. And who you've angered?
I had not caught that one. Just a sec. Is that one of the? Oh, that's not one of the key. I see. I stopped before the. I stopped one step too early. Oh, that last one is kind of hilarious, given my self introspection and strict code of ethics. 1 second. Though the rabbinical council, by defying a ban, is also interesting, because it implies that I followed my own sense of what was right over what the scholars were saying. I'm going to go with that one because it makes it makes my position in the shuttle a little bit more tenuous.
Love it. Absolutely love it. All right. We're going to shift over to you, Haley. Tell us about your character.
Yeah. So my character is the soldier Avrum, and the flavor text is Goyim. They drafted 18, Jews at 12. 6 years of drills and beatings to try and get the yid out, or did you lie your way in? Then hunger, marching torn bodies in the mud. Now you've come back to a place you barely remember. And I'm thinking that my character is either the person who in the person who the court advisor is in love with is promised to, or the younger brother that didn't get taken the second time. One of those two people.
I like them both.
But I'm leaning towards the first one.
I think that's
because it's just so messy.
Yeah.
So I have a yearning face. I have a survival-based oriented outlook, and I am most haunted by what I did in Sevastopol.
What did you do in Sevastopol? Should we find that out in play?
I think I'd like to find it out in play.
Excellent. All righty. What skills do you have from the war?
Suppressing all emotion, dueling, and hard drinking. All essential.
Excellent. What did you bring back?
Nightmares, and I wonder if maybe that the appearance of the ghost coincided with my return.
Ooh.
I
like that a lot.
To hook that in. And a loaded pistol. You never know when you're going to need that.
Bravo. Yes. Excellent. I love that with the nightmares. That fit for everybody else. That our return of our lost soldier coincides with when sleep became so difficult.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Cool. All right. So, and as always, I haven't picked anything because I was listening to everybody's cool stuff. I'm playing the scholar, Caleb Bidsolum. The law is a tree of life for those who cling to it, nourishment in the wilderness. Our temple is destroyed, our people scattered among the nations. What we have, the law, and those who study it, our glory, our burden. Look, I'm going to take a stern face. And I am a traditionalist. And what brings salvation? We must decode the secrets of the book of creation. Through that knowledge, will we see the way, and will the temple be rebuilt? Any questions since I've gotten through a major part? Anyone have a question for my character? Since I tend to ask questions of all of y'all. No? All right. Going down 2 areas of expertise. I'm going to take mystical ascension and I think I'm going to take property law. I think mystical ascension is my passion. Property law is what I practice amongst the shtetl and amongst the Goya and the shtetl to, it brings me my income. The Goy come to me to advocate for them. I am knowledgeable of the laws of our area. It is a trade that I can take part in. And the Goy have accepted that I am an impartial voice, so they'll come to me for that.
I have a question about that.
Uh-huh.
So with all these confiscations going on, are you benefiting from these? Is this bringing you work, or is this shutting you out of your normal line of trade?
I think it's bringing me work, but I think there's an element of me feeling defeated because I'm not able to stop it. Even when I pass these judgments, at best, we're getting some bit of script. We're getting some promise of payment in the future. And many times it feels like I'm tilting windmills to pass these things. So it's kind of eroding what had always been something people just took for granted. The people who lived around here would take my judgments and accept them. Now, these people coming from Kiev and from Moscow, they just hand us paper and say, "Oh, well, you're paid." So I think that hurts me a little. All right. Choose 2 great temptations. I think wealth and influence. I think I'm prideful in that way. And
That's a dangerous temptation when your focus is property law.
yes, it is. And I think I'm going to offset it with despair and self-loathing. I think that I often get caught up in the, am I doing the right thing because it's the right thing, or am I just is my judgment tainted by taking care of myself, taking care of those I care about instead of really applying the law. And I get into shame spirals in that sort of way. It's something that haunts me. All right. So there's my setup there. It sounds like we've heard a little bit about our characters. Let's do a key relationships and choose one to ask left. And we'll go left off of the character keeper. So, Walter, key relationships and then ask a question.
Okay, and I'm asking left would go to you then, all the way back across to
it would
Kayla?
go all the way around to me.
Okay, then. So, let's see. So, what is the wait? We're doing the. I'm sorry. Is there? Could you walk me through how to ask a question? I just ask any question of you. Or this
let's
is
see.
the key relationship.
Do your key relationships first, and then you're going to choose, and you do have a drop down with 2 questions, and you ask one of those to be.
Oh, I see. Key relationships, and then I have a drop down with a question that I pick for you. Okay, I got it.
Yeah,
those are 2 different things. Okay, let's see. So, interesting.
And these will be for all of us kind of flagging some NPCs we want in the story.
Yeah, right. So these will be, I don't have to I'll probably be up to the 3 of you to flesh out whatever I pick here, right?
Yep.
I like an estranged spouse despises me.
Ooh.
And then and then I want to say the Goyish peasants come to me. And the questions that I have, let's see. I'm going to ask you, Caleb bin Solim, why did you seek my help, and what are you afraid it will cost?
I think that I have only one son, and he was taken in the draft. And I have come to you often to ask if you have heard from him, if in your visions you've seen him. And I'm afraid one of these times you're going to say yes.
Yeah, can I ask a follow-up on that? I mean, or maybe I'm just going to suggest this but get feedback from everybody, which is that I'm kind of known for having this weird prescience about when our soldiers go off to war, if something happens to them, I seem to know before word actually comes by other means.
Sound good to everybody? I like that. Yeah, cool. All right. So, moving over, believe, Will, you're next. Yes.
All right. I would say that the Goyish peasants come to you, which might also, I don't know if that would necessarily be the, I don't know if that necessarily would be the cause of the band that I defied.
Can I? I'm sorry, Will. Can I just interrupt you for a moment? I think there was a 2-parter to my question, and maybe I missed if you answered both parts. The what are you afraid it will cost you?
Yeah,
that's right. I think I gave what I am afraid you will say. What I'm afraid it'll cost me. Yeah, I don't. Part of me wants to say it'll cost me my son when I hear it, but that may be playing it too on the nose.
I think that may be pushing toward what I might be asking of you, like something that I might want.
What do you think you want?
Um,
I should come up with the answer.
what do you think I want? What are you afraid I want?
Yeah. I think what it's going to cost me is that I have to acknowledge that that your wisdom may be greater than mine. I think you may that in the sort of power structure of the shtetl, you and I are seen as different points. Yours is of the supernatural, mine is of the material. And I have to, in the end,
Can I rephrase that by suggesting that maybe you're afraid that I will ask you to sort of publicly acknowledge sort of my some sort of superiority to you in sort of like knowledge of, of, I don't know, scholarly things. Obviously not law, but other things, traditions of the shtetl, perhaps.
That I call you rabbi, that I call you Rev, as the title. When they come to me, they, Rev Kevia, Rev Caleb. I would be acknowledging that you have knowledge greater than me. I would have to come to you as Rabbi Zalman.
Ooh, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah. I've been trying to figure out like what it is that I want. Maybe that's what I want. Maybe and it's not much of a secret. Maybe I want to be taken seriously. People think I'm kind of like this mystical kook. They don't trust me, but I really want to be taken seriously as like a mystical leader in the shtetl. I like that.
Cool. Excellent. And actually, Will, I think I noticed this once before, that since you have that Goyish peasants come to you, I think it's an accidental screw up in the character keeper.
Oh, is that not on the list?
It is not.
Okay.
We literally saw that exact thing before when I played. Let me look real quick on, if you look in the book has it, but in the playbooks for the midwife, yes. No, the Goyish peasants come to you is one, isn't it? All right, then. Okay, I'm incorrect. That is on both of you. Okay.
Well, they come to us for different reasons.
They come to you for different reasons. You're exactly right. There is one that is somewhere, I just can't remember which one, that is a repeat that shouldn't be there. But all right. Yes, I'm sorry. That is absolutely one of yours.
So yeah, I'm basically providing birthing services for the Goyish peasantry as well as the peasantry of the shtetl, and that might cause some friction, but life is life. And I have my points that I stick to. Also, I am a young bride's only hope. Her name is Shira, and she has been having trouble conceiving. And she is desperate for a child.
Excellent. And your question?
Zalman, what terrible event did we live through together?
Okay, so feel free to disagree with this. But seeing as I already picked that I have an estranged spouse who despises me, maybe that terrible event was our marriage.
Right, me and my unreadable expression just sort of watching it happen.
So go ahead.
Did you have need of my services as things were unraveling? Was there a child? Was there an attempt to conceive? Was there an abortion?
I think Walter, you're suggesting that she is your
Oh
estranged.
yeah,
Oh, you're suggesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you're
I mean, I
suggesting
think
that
we
we
can go
have.
either way, actually.
Oh,
Solomon.
yeah, I'll take that.
Or okay. Although I like where you were going too. So whichever you prefer, because I think your suggestion of that you were like trying to like help, provide services for me and my estranged wife. Like that's also a really great angle. So whichever you would prefer, whatever you think would be more fun.
I like the fact that we're both like sort of we're both rebelling against the the Shtetl's authority, and so maybe we sought that out in each other, and that was not enough points in common to make things work.
Ah, okay. Nice.
I like that. That's really cool. All right, Haley, let's get yours.
Well, my first key relationship is a stranger's face has stolen your heart, and that's the person I'm promised to, although we have met only twice since I returned. And for my second one, I think it would be cool if it was one of the player characters, either a sibling who resents my return or a best friend who fears me. Does anyone feel like there might be one of those two? If not, I can make an NPC. Again? A sibling who resents my return. That one is more interesting, I think.
I think I might be too old for either one of them, but if no one else, I think they're both phenomenal. So I would jump in, but someone might be better suited.
There could be siblings who are like very apart in age. Like that's not that uncommon. Like you were the first child, I was the 10th child.
I like that because then it also plays into my fear that my son is not coming back, and you, my younger brother, have. All right, yes, let's do that one. I think that's very cool. Are we close? Were we close?
Well, we definitely aren't now. I wonder if, like, it was kind of that thing where you took all the responsibility and I took none. And then I got taken to war, and now I'm back, but your son is not. So once again, I'm getting out of responsibility.
I like that. And I think I was just as fearful when you were gone. But now that you're back, it's like you've returned, but he's still there. So there's that weird hostility of I should be relieved because you're back, but you came back alone.
And maybe you will like look after. What's your son's name? Sorry.
Let's give him a name. I will put over to here. My son is Heimish.
Heimish?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe we'll like look after Heimish because we probably left at the same time and we're more or less the same age-ish. Like maybe I'm a little bit older than him, and then now I've come back without him. And I don't know where he is.
Oh yeah. That's very good. Excellent.
Oh, you were supposed to look after him. Or at least Caleb might think so.
Oh, I like that. That's fantastic.
I'm sure I was supposed to look after him, but
Excellent.
So my ask left question, my first one is, why do you wish I'd never come back? And well, I'll enjoy everybody wishing that I'd never come back. Maybe I will go that way. I'll just be an awful person. Why do you wish I had never come back?
Tova.
Wow, that is pretty heavy. Um,
I can switch the other one if you're not feeling it.
no, that's fine. I am. I think your return complicates the situation with Yale. I might not actually be pulling for you.
Nice.
That makes a
Very
lot of sense.
nice. All right. And going over to me, key relationships. The one you love ignores you. I think I'm going to go with their let's see. Let's I think I'm going to go with I think my wife. My wife Hannah. We'll go with Hannah. Believes that I should have fought to keep our son home. That I could have used my influence with the Goy to have kept our child from going off to war. And since then, the hostility has grown up between us to the point where we don't speak. And there's no longer anything between us because of the absence of our son. Where once we really cared for each other, this has made that split. My other key relationship is the people seek your legal opinions. I think that it does provide me both with my income and my station. That the Goy come to me to settle disputes. All right. So yeah. So that gives me my standing, gives me my station. So it's a positive relationship, I suppose, in its way. All right. Choose one to ask left. So it's going to you, Haley. Oh, I got to do this one. This is just too good not to. What have I failed to ask your forgiveness about?
I think that while I was at war, I asked you to I think I asked you to like write to somebody influential that you knew to like keep me from being in a particularly awful battle. And for some reason or another, you didn't do that.
Okay. That I could have appealed to someone to keep you away from that danger.
But I think it would have been a very like for you to have done that. I think would have been a very what's the word? You would have really had to you would appear in a really weak position and have to like acknowledge your that they're superior to you, that you're inferior, all those things that you're not about, and like kind of beg. So really, should I have asked you to put yourself in that position? I don't know, but at the same time, war is awful.
I should have taken care of my brother. I haven't asked you for forgiveness, so it clearly plays on me. It falls into my self-loathing that I've done this terrible thing to my kin. All right, I love it. That's fantastic. So, should and could have prevented from being in a terrible battle.
I think that battle was Sevastopol. I think that was the battle that's mentioned
Perfect.
in my thing of what haunts me.
Boy, I'll have to look how to spell Sevastopol. I'm going to cheat and just copy and paste it. But would not but pride stopped me. There we go. All right. Okay. So we have set up our characters. We're going to take a break, I think. Give ourselves a chance to stretch out, do a bio break, grab something to drink. I think we'll come back at 20 after the hour. We'll look at our map. We'll throw a couple of things on it, and we'll get into play. So let's return, like I say, 20 after the hour. See y'all shortly. all this world building is why I say only Avery could get this, or maybe, Benjamin here could get this done in 3 to 4 hours. I love the world building, though. Everything's so evocative.
Oh my God. Yeah, I like the drop down for some of these are just amazing. I look at them like, these are all incredible. How am I going to pick one?
Mm-hmm.
So good.
So what I'm going to do, and we'll be back here hopefully in just a moment, but Walter, you're going to do our first scene. So you can start thinking on it. You should pick someone you'd like to have the scene with, and then we'll have anyone else who feels like they have a reason or an angle they might be involved in the scene. But you're going to describe to us what you think, what the scene has to do with, where you think you are, what you're trying to do. And I'm going to suggest maybe that I'm not your scene partner, and that way I can take one of these environment playbooks and we can see someone run one of those.
Okay.
As an example. So think maybe either Will or Haley that you're gonna have a scene with, and where it'll be, and I'll pick up a playbook or an element playbook and run it.
Okay. So something that's sort of got me right now is I'm really interested to see if we can start off by exploring this benefactor, the court advisor, and I'm imagining a scene in which neither the advisor nor the, as yet, I think, unfleshed out target of his affections, I don't think either of them are in this scene, but I think one of them, I think either Tova or Ivram knows both of them, and the advisor has approached them, and now they are coming to me, the sorcerer, for something. Does that spark an idea for either Tova or Avram?
Well, that certainly sparks an idea for me, because I'm in love with Yael, who's the person that the court advisor is in love with. And we're promised to each other. And I didn't know about this until maybe now I do know about the thing between Yael and the court advisor. And I would, I need to ask somebody influential for help. I'm not going to go to my brother because things aren't going well between us. So maybe I would come to you about that. Does that sound possible?
Yeah, absolutely.
Alrighty. Just to pull in something, I believe, Will, you were wanting to change one of your questions.
Yeah, I wanted to X my response to Haley's question previously, which is actually relevant to the scene. I indicated that I was sort of pulling for the court advisor / Yale relationship over Avram, and that doesn't jive well with the code of ethics that I'm supposed to be following. So I've replaced that with I fear that Avram brought the death of the battlefield home with her, or home with him.
Okay. Excellent.
Because all this haunting started when he came back, and I've felt the brunt of that.
Excellent. And Haley, that works for you? Excellent. Okay, so we're going to have the scene that Walter has brought up. I do want to direct us real quick to our map. It is the kind of very bare bones of our little community. And I'm going to go around and just say, Walter, is there anything you feel like needs to be added? We have a couple of things that are kind of out there as oddnesses. We have the lady's house. Who the lady is, we have not defined or anything. The Rude Crow, which is an inn or a pub, or it can be something else if someone wants to put a definition on what the Rude Crow really stands for there. But Walter, you think anything else needs to be on our map?
No, nothing jumps out at me now.
Okay. Will, anything you'd like to put on our map?
I want to answer that with a question. Does the court how often does this court advisor visit the village? Do they live nearby, or are they do they simply pass through on occasion when making rounds through the region?
What do we think? Is this our local lord that's also, an advisor to the czar, or is it just a, now that there's an object of affection, they show up?
I kind of like it's the local lord because it makes it much easier for them to show up.
Haley, what do you think of that?
Yeah, that's even a worse situation. I love it.
Excellent. Walter, you good with that?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. So, Will, anything you want to put on the map?
Possibly the road to the manor. Not sure where. Probably on the other side of the wild forests, because who doesn't want to go traipsing through wild forests?
Excellent. All right. If you want to draw a line for the trail, feel free in there. Haley, anything you'd like to put on the map?
I just wanted to ask what is the name that we use to refer to the court advisor / lord person? Because I'm pretty sure that's going to come up.
All right. What do we think? Is this a nobleman, a count, or again, it could be a noble lady as well. We haven't really defined down who it is our local potentate is. Who do we think? Or is it just a magistrate, or some high military person?
Oh, if it's a military person, it gets even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do people think? I think either a count or a military person would be good.
Walter, what you think?
Interesting. I mean, what is a military person doing? Like, I would think, a military person might be more along the, out doing things. I don't know. Or are they is this like a staging ground? There is a garrison on the map.
So. Well, keep in mind that, someone could be like a field marshal or something like that and have been given land for service.
Yeah.
And since the front's close by, could be closer here and still have the army nearby.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
So
interesting.
Do we like the idea of maybe it's a high-ranking general that has been gifted this land around here? Or do we think that they're just like the military governor, the one that's been placed in charge while the military's here, rather than like hereditary?
Oh, I like that. That's interesting. Yeah. Like maybe they're like the military governor. They've kind of they've been in this area, and it's while they've been in this area. Oh, maybe they were even stationed at the garrison for a while in the shtetl or just outside of it, and that's when they first met Yell and fell for them.
Does that sound good to everybody?
So how do we refer to them? What is the governor?
Probably something like general or marshal.
The general. All right, the general sounds great.
Excellent.
But no, I'm happy with the map.
How about Markov? General Markov.
There we go. General Markov is our oppressive, our sort of interloper with romantic intent. All right, cool. So, Walter, you're setting a scene. Nobody's changed the map. I think the map's set. So, what you doing with your scene?
Yeah. I'm gonna rely on I'm on the wrong place here. Excuse me. I'm gonna rely on Abram to bring what interests you and pull some things into this. But I'm thinking that where do I normally work? I have like an office somewhere, and it looks quite a while. It's kind of dressed out in a lot of mystical, rabbinical sort of things. I'm imagining I'm not like the accepted rabbi by very many people here, but a lot of people kind of distrust me because I'm, talk to spirits and have weird insights that people shouldn't have. But I'm definitely trying to put on the trappings of being a rabbi. That's
I mean, it doesn't help that it doesn't help that you're a gormless scoundrel.
Anyway, so I think that I think I have an office basically that looks like a rabbi's office next to the synagogue would look like, but I'm nowhere near the synagogue. I'm like on the other side of town. I'm like, just like, maybe I'm just like a couple doors down from your law office, Caleb. In the same like business park, whatever shtetls have that's equivalent to that sort of thing.
Excellent. And I have missed something we're going to go through real quick. It's super fast, but we should all tell everyone our lure, because that is a flag for things and it gets us tokens. So going down the list, Walter, what is your lure?
Oh yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because this is a great opportunity. Whenever someone tells you a secret that gives you leverage over them, they gain a token.
Excellent. Tova.
Whenever someone places themselves under your care or follows your advice, they gain a token.
Excellent. Avram.
Whenever someone gives you an opportunity to prove yourself to the shtetl, they gain a token.
Ooh, nice. And for me, when someone participates in one of your rituals for the first time, they gain a token. All right. So, you're setting the scene, Walter, at your office, and we get the impression then that Avram has come to see you. Was it?
Yeah, and I think I'm imagining actually that Avram may have heard that I wish to speak to Avram as well, but I'm guessing that I'm suggesting that Avram also wants to bring up something about Yale and the general with me.
Sound good to you, Haley?
Perfect.
All right. So I'm going to pick up a playbook here for the world. And I think the options that seem good for me are either gossip and reputation or the market. And you see there, pick up when someone enters the market or tries to make a deal, like something important, or is enjoying material comfort for the market. Gossip and reputation, when someone does something transgressive or praiseworthy, defies or upholds the shtetl norm, or shares a secret. Does it sound like we're making a deal, or are we more dealing in gossip and reputation? Walter.
It's yeah, I think I mean, from my perspective, gossip and reputation.
Okay. So I'm picking up that playbook. Should something come up along the way, Will, feel free to pick up one of the world playbooks. Say we get into something about the supernatural or something along those lines. And also, Will or I, if either of us feel like suddenly we need to show up or something's going to happen just right that it fits with us, we can kind of dip in there as well. Or either one of you can suggest, hey, we need, I think one of you should show up. And as I'm running this, if I happen to have an NPC show up, then I would probably, either I would play them, or I'd look and say, hey, Will, you want to play blah, blah. All right, so we kind of understand the structure there. Walter, lead us off with what it looks like.
Yeah. Actually, I think that if I may, I'll suggest that Averill approaches my door. And before, I don't know if April's planning to knock or just walk right in, but I think just before April does interact with the door, my voice booms out and says, "April, come in."
Yeah, Abram scritches open the door, and I think Abram has the look of somebody who is trying to hide the way, like the way that everyone else sees them. Like he is dressed probably like similar to the way he dressed before the war. He has like the fashion of a young person. He has an affectation and a manner of ease, but you can see like underneath it, he's got scars from the war. One that runs down his like collarbone into his shirt, and like he's a little bit jumpy, and he steps in and he's quite like uncertain whether he should be here, but he steps forward anyway and says, "Zalman, you have time for me. You have a moment for me."
Yes. Yes, I am glad to see you. But let me ask, what brings you?
Perhaps you will not be glad to see me when I tell you, but I have brought you a gift. It has been very difficult for me to get it, so I hope that you will like it. And he hands you like a small little jar, and inside the jar there's just like a small amount of honey.
Oh, Avram, this is contraband. Thank you. This is very gracious of you. And Zalman puts it under his desk. He's actually got sort of a little secret shelf down there that's not obvious for anyone to see. He hides it out of the way. And he says, actually, I think before he does that, he even takes one moment to smell it. This is a very generous gift, Abram. I must ask, what would you like from me? I am surprised that you bring this to me. May I help you?
Yes. Well, you know Yael. She's the most beautiful woman in the village, is she not?
Ah, yes, I know Yale. And
And
you,
she's full of courage and spirit. And I think she has an excellent future. And we are promised to each other.
this is, I've heard this. This is wonderful. This is excellent. This is, oh, and you have come here to ask me to marry you. This is wonderful. Have you set a date? I would be honored to do this.
Well, that is not exactly the situation. You see, there is some, I suppose, confusion as to whether we are to be married. Yael says that it would displease the general. I don't care for the general. I would march up to his door and I would shoot him, but I don't think that Yael would like that.
Be careful how you say this out loud.
No one can hear us here.
These walls are thinner than I would like. But go on. So, and I actually have a regular move, which I will pull out here. I can ask, who longs for you? And does Yale wish to be with you, Abram?
All right.
Tell me honestly, Avram.
The point is that we are promised.
I see.
Walter, on behalf of the Goyisha world, I feel compelled to tell you that the garrison is down the block, and there's always the possibility that soldiers of the Tsar might be wandering the streets outside. So your comment about the walls having ears is possibly more pointed than casual.
Yes. Well, so would you like me to do something about this, Avram? What do you come to me for?
Well, if you would marry us in secret.
I see.
Once we're married, nobody can say what we should or shouldn't do for the general.
Yes, well...
The Habsburgs will be here soon anyway. It's all
It
to be
is-
war again. One person doesn't matter.
As a rabbi here in the shtetl, people are coming to me more and more for marriage, and I'm honored. I will do what I can to marry you. But let me ask, and I have these regular moves, and I'm like wondering how much I should like be playing into them all. Maybe they're just suggestions for what I should be doing. But I have a move. What price would you pay for that as one of my regular moves? And Avram, well, this honey is wonderful. You must understand that this could anger the general when it comes back that I have, as a respected rabbi in this shtetl, married you and Yale. So I must ask, what can you pay for this service?
Avram, I think you notice as the honey has been put aside and as he looks down towards where it was placed, you can see that there's an envelope on that hidden shelf as well. And there's no doubt in your mind that that's the general's handwriting on the envelope.
I'm going to use my weak move, which is demand an explanation. So I think like Avram steps over and grabs the envelope without like asking for permission or ready for anything. And he turns to you and he says, You have won my secrets out of me, but you are his creature too? What is this?
Give that back to me. That is no business of yours. I am involved in many things here. The general, he, as you know, is very, very busy in the shtetl, and he comes to me, he comes to many people looking for information, looking for advice. I asked you, please, give me back the letter.
Walter, the message is in fact from the letter is in fact from the general. What did he request for you, and what did he offer in return?
What did he request, and what did he offer in return? Well, he well, he knows what I want. In return, he offered that in return, he offered that he is going to do something with the current, something inconvenient for the current rabbi, perhaps force him to leave the village for some amount of time, in which case I could naturally sort of take over more of the leadership role in the village, and that appealed to me, horrible as it is. And what did he ask of me? Oh, well, I mean, it's oh, wait a minute. Oh my God. Oh no. Well, of course, he asked me as the then rabbi to marry. Well, no. He would want to marry Yale with a Christian priest, so he wouldn't want me to marry them. What would he ask of me? I think he would ask of me, that I tell people, that I tell the other Jews that their sons are safe, because I have a reputation for knowing if their sons on the front line are safe or not. He's basically asking me to lie about that.
Oh, very nice. So it's not about Yale at all, but it is still somewhat damning.
And I feel like maybe now is a good time for me to ask a question of you in return, Will. I have a weak move. What makes me vulnerable in this situation?
Your position in the shtetl is not as secure as you would like it to be. There is an established rabbi, there is an established rabbinical council, and you are not on it. And so your reputation may live or die on how the dice fall in a situation like this. Scandal could be very bad for you.
Okay, I'm on the razor's edge lately. Okay, very good. So all right, and so this letter, currently unbeknownst to Abram, who's holding it in his hand, is basically, I think it's actually a copy of the letter that is pronouncing what will pull the rabbi away from the village. So I'm like, he's basically shared that with me as like a solid offer of like, this is what I'm going to do for you. So that's what you're holding in your hand now, Abram. And I want it back. Please listen. Give me back the letter. I have very important business. I will marry you in Yale at your earliest convenience. We will have a wonderful ceremony. We shall invite the village. It will be beautiful. The band will play, dancing, singing, everything you want.
I think Avram's going to fail to react at a crucial moment. And I think he just like drops the letter and let it drift slowly onto the ground. And then he pushes it towards you with his foot, so you kind of have to bend down to like pick it up off the ground. That's not failing to react. I can't take a token for that, but that's what he does anyway.
I think that's a good weak move. Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah.
I think, is that scene?
I think it may be.
Mm-hmm.
Sound good to everyone? All right.
Should we do a little record keeping too? I think we like some tokens gotten.
Yeah, I think that. Do either of you feel that you hit your weak moves? Walter, I know you struck at one for sure. Any others seem to fit?
Oh, well, I also have a given to greed, fear, greed, or malice to your peril.
I think you did that because you've promised here that you're going to marry Avram and is Young? Is that her name?
Is
And-
it? Yeah. What is?
Yeah,
what is her name?
Al.
How's it spelled?
Yeah.
Yael?
Yeah. And that is to your peril.
Yes.
All
Okay.
right. Haley, hit any weak moves?
Yeah, I
Sounded
think they demand an explanation from someone.
Okay.
Hmm.
And you don't think you failed to take action with? You had the letter in your hand.
Yeah, I don't know, but I feel like Abram made a choice rather than failing to react.
Okay. All right. So 2 tokens to you, Walter. 1 for you, Haley. And I'm going to shift.
And also, I think. Well, interesting. Did Haley meet my allure when someone tells
Oh
you?
yeah, I
Yeah.
told you I was planning to secretly be married.
Yeah.
Yes. Very good. So a token, a lure token, so it can't be taken from you. To you there, Avram. All right. And Avram, whenever someone gives you an opportunity to prove yourself to the shtetl, I don't think that happened. All right. So going to shift over to you, Will. Would you like to propose a scene?
All right.
And again, keep in mind, you can propose a scene that doesn't have another PC in it. We'll just populate with the NPCs. People all get to play them, that sort of thing. Though, it's usually more fun with a PC. But there's lots of setup scenes that can happen with NPCs.
All right. Let me think about what. I want to see what happens with Avram after what I want to see what happens with Avram leaving Zalman's house or Zalman's place of business before he has a chance to distance himself from the shop. He comes across his brother. So the two of you, so perhaps the two of you meet on the street, suspiciously close to Zalman's place of business.
Okay. I like that. Let's see. So, what part of the world? By the way, if you look at the world, you'll notice that for gossip and reputation, since I picked it up first, I put the desires of our gossip and reputation as safety and judgment. And Will, I believe you picked up there. And what did you put the desires of the Goyish world?
Hierarchy and order, and then beneath that, military dominance. Excellent.
All right. So, you and I are meeting, Avram. I imagine it's going to be a difficult meeting. I suppose we should just have the scene, and if people see a moment to pick up one of the world books, I will say I am putting down the gossip and reputation because I think that could come into play. So, if anybody wishes to pick that up, I see you coming out, Avram.
Brother?
You have been keeping low company. As I look over towards Zalman's office.
Abram sort of like makes a disparaging click of the tongue and says, perhaps it is simply your low opinion, why do you care what company I keep?
We are still family. I would wish to look out for you, and of course, what you do reflects on me. Why do
You wish to...
Go ahead.
Sorry, you go.
Why do you wish to speak with that dabbler in dark arts?
That is my own business. Or should I ask you why you choose to speak to those who come to our village every day to take what should be ours?
I do what I can to protect our village. I have been here all this time looking out for those that are my responsibilities.
Abram pulls out like one of those promissory notes that he got when something of his was taken. And he says, I know the value of this. And he rips it up into little pieces and throws it onto the ground.
Rabbi, a word with you. There's a call from down the street as General Markov himself, with a small detachment of guards, is wandering amiably in your direction as you glower at your brother with the torn pieces of paper in the street.
Of course, General, and I'll just reach down and grab the 2 pieces of paper and look up. Abram, you are putting yourself in danger.
Pick up the paper. By the way, I picked up the Unseen playbook. As you pick up the 2 pieces of paper, Caleb, you hear a whisper in the wind. You hear the voice of your son. It says, Father, it's not too late. Father, it's not too late for me. Abram can still save me, Father. And then the wind rustles some leaves, and you wonder, was that really your son's voice?
Abram, come to dinner tonight.
I'm going to use my move, confuse the present with the horrors of the past. And like, as you're saying this to Abram, he is like he's looking straight past you at the general and the like detachment of soldiers that are there. And he's like backing up with a very like, defensive look on his face.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks like he's about to start something.
The bodyguards of the general might pick up on that, but General Markov is eyes only for excuse me, for Caleb.
Abram, go. As I turn and begin moving towards the general. Yes.
Yes, I've been inspecting the garrison. Certainly, if news of the certainly everything seems to be in order in case this town needs defending from any horrors that plague it. Unfortunately, a word has come to me from the front that there is need of more provisions. There will be a call for supplies in 2 days. And if you can if you can manage whatever if you can call upon the resources of your town to be available.
Well, General, we've already given so very much.
I understand that, and I understand that times are hard everywhere, but your support for the Tsar will help the cause of all of the nation. Avram, are you still there?
Uh,
Yeah, Avram is there, but he's almost like he's so detached from the real situation that he is just standing there in abject silence, gripping his sword with white knuckles in the background.
I think at this point the general probably notices Avram and says, "It's all right, son. The front hasn't arrived here yet." He's still congenial. There's a bit of an undercurrent of this may not be the proper way of showing respect to him, but he's willing to let that slide.
General, you must pardon my brother. The times of battle still weigh heavy upon him.
Brother, yes, I can see the resemblance. And he turns to you and with a show of mild respect, saying, "Your contribution to the war effort has been your contribution to the war effort has been noted."
General, so much has been given by our village. We have almost nothing left, but I will do whatever I can, of course.
I do appreciate, as always, he moves to clap you on the shoulder, and he smiles at you, and he says, "I always appreciate, as always, I appreciate your candor, and I appreciate your support." And he moves on with his rounds, leaving the two of you behind.
When he disappears, Abram looks like he's just woken up from some kind of dream.
I want to suggest that Avram did have a dream. That maybe you have other things in mind, but I think one of the things competing for Avram's attention was that when the general was speaking to you, it was almost like you heard a second voice. It sounded like the voices of the general giving orders. It's like, even though the general was trying to be nice to you, for some reason you just heard it as the general barking orders, and it brought you back to this moment when not the general, but someone who is lower down on the hierarchy of the general gave the order for Caleb's son to go up to the front, and it was very crystal clear to you that the general is very much in charge of what happens to Caleb's son, and that the last thing you know of him was when that happened. That was the last you saw of his son.
So I think Abram grips Caleb's arm with an iron grip and says, "I saw him. He left. He had to go. He disappeared. I stayed. I should have gone with him. I don't know where he is. I don't know what happened. I didn't see."
Wow.
Sorry, I was muted. You should have kept a better watch. I'll pull my arm away. Come to dinner tonight. It is wrong for us to have these divisions.
I think when you say you should have kept a better watch, Abram looks like you physically hit him, and he steps back, and he I think he just walks off without replying to you.
I'd like to ask you, Walter, what temptation am I at risk of succumbing to?
So you are a
Having heard my boy speak to me, and
Yeah.
my brother there, me not fixing that.
Yeah, and the general asking you for supporting the Tsar. I think. Oh. What? Could you rephrase the question again to make sure I got it right? Could you say it again?
What temptation am I at risk of succumbing to? That's one of my.
You are at risk of succumbing to the temptation that the general wants something from you, and you can use that as leverage, because you could have Abram conscripted and sent back to the front lines if Abram doesn't do what you want. And that's very tempting.
Oh. Does that feel like scene? As I look back at both their retreating backs. Oh. My. All right. Haley, it's your scene to make.
I really want to see Tova and Zalman in a scene together. And
I do
I'm
too.
wondering if this is about the ghosts, because I imagine that Tova is, like, correct me if I'm wrong, trying to solve the problem of how negatively they're affecting everybody. And Zalman is the one with the control over the supernatural. So I wonder if either she's suspicious of him or she needs his help even though she really, really, really doesn't want to ask him for it.
I'm leaning in the second direction. And it's like pulling teeth without anesthetic, but these are rough times. Zalman, are you still in your shop, or do I find you somewhere else?
And can I ask, Walter, did you set desires for the unseen world?
Yes, I just picked them. I picked implacable justice and intimacy with the living.
Nice. Alrighty. So yeah, where are you found? Sorry.
Yeah.
If Tova has any say in the matter, she does not encounter you at your office, but she might not.
Right. Well, so yeah, the spirits have been very active, especially spirits of our soldiers that have been sent to the front line. It's I feel like do we have? Yeah, you know what? I think you know that you can often find me in the cemetery, and sometimes you find me. There's a little like a bench to the side of our cemetery in the shtetl, not far from where some of the young men have been recently interred when returned from the front line. And you see me as you approach. I'm kind of like gesticulating as though I'm talking to someone, but there's nobody there. It's just me.
I have to ask, did we have a child?
My
if we're near
intuition
the
is no, but I'm totally open to yes if you think that's interesting.
you're near the cemetery. I'm wondering if we may have a child buried here.
That's good. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna give up the Unseen World playbook for now, since it seems like that might come up in this setting.
And to whom are you speaking today? Says Tova, breaking whatever reverie you're in.
Tova, I am speaking with Favish, my twin, as you know. He is he often guides me. But I will say that I've heard many voices of late, and it is soothing to hear Favish's voice. Unlike some other voices that I often hear. And what brings you here, Tova?
Voices of the living. The garrison has been sending overflow soldiers to my shop to mend with what little supplies I have. I'm not a doctor. I don't understand. I'm not a doctor, but the surgeon supplies at the garrison are low, and so the overflow is what I get.
Well, at least they are coming back to you still alive, and I'm sure you do excellent things to keep them that way. Tova.
She inclines her head slightly.
Tova, this is... I have great fear that many more spirits are going to be returning to us, not in their bodies. But I also feel like there is something that can be done, Tova. And I have to admit, I have a lot of anxiety. Well, the general has been speaking to me. The general sees that I have that I'm going to be one of the next to be, revered here in our shtetl, and I think I must try to look at this as an opportunity to advise him, and this brings me some anxiety, Tova. This is why I'm here, speaking to Favish.
Eager to make more problems for yourself, I see. Myself, I have enough problems given the degree to which I cannot sleep these nights. Is it the war, do you think, that is bringing all this calamity upon us? Or is it something else?
Undoubtedly, it is the war. Yes. But something is amiss. The spirits are restless. There is something more going on here. Tell me, what is keeping you awake at night? Are you having strange dreams, Tova?
She nods and she says, and I am not the only one. Many of those that I see are complaining of nightmares. Many are many are hearing voices of those they cared about who have gone to war or passed otherwise. She chews her lip.
Yes. Yes. The soul of this village is being torn apart. It says this is a problem. Something must be done. I feel I must do something, Tova.
Do you have a plan? And she's looking intently at you now.
Tova, I will do the right thing, but tell me, Tova, if we win this war at the cost of our young men, it could still, for those of us who are left, it could be very good for us, good for the future of this village. Do you think that the others here in the village believe that? The ones you've spoken to?
I know what I believe. And she takes a step towards you. I believe we are being buried in our dead. And I think that if something does not change, there may not be enough of us left to embrace this future you talk about.
I'm picking up the playbook of the supernatural, of the unseen world. As she says this to you, Zaman. As she says this to you, you hear from the west a sound of a trumpet, and it's like suddenly around you, the sound of footfalls and cries of horses' hooves, the sound of men running in fear, in total rout. And you can see across this graveyard huddled figures at their gravestones, crying in fear and in loss.
And while you're processing this, Tova crosses her arms over her belly and looks down at the ground for a moment, and then says quietly, I'm sorry, I had notes here and then I dropped them. One moment, please. All right. She crosses her arms around her. She folds her arms over her belly and looks at the ground and says quietly, "I heard Zvi's name last night, and I am doing some kind of combination of trusting someone I shouldn't and succumbing to guilt or shame."
So Svi, that was our son?
Yes.
Okay. So I want to spend a
oh, sorry, I missed your note in the chat. Sorry about that. Oh, sorry, I confused.
What? Oh, Favish is my brother.
Favish is your brother's.
Yeah.
Svi is our child. All right.
Okay. So I want to spend one of my tokens and use a hard move now to ask, what does your character secretly desire now? What does Tova secretly desire? And as I understand the interpretation of this is you may be cagey about revealing the secret desire to me, but whatever your character's secret desire is, like Zalman has intuited it.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
Or you
That's
might
interesting.
tell him
Yeah,
outright.
no,
Either way,
that's
tell me.
interesting. I'm trying to determine if her secret desire is selfish or selfless. Tova's secret desire is to never be put into another position where she is fighting to save children. Like she doesn't want to be caring for a dying child again.
Okay. I want to push you a little bit.
Okay.
That there's like maybe a particular dying child that you're like dealing with now. Something like, does that sound?
Yeah, sure. There's a young boy in the village who is very sick, and the fact that nobody is sleeping is not helping. And in fact, that's one of the reasons why I'm coming to you, is that I don't want to see him die. Are we coming close to a line that we've established? I mean, it was cruelty, not, yeah, so this is disease. All right, understood. So, yes, there's a boy I guess then unprompted she says following that statement that Zelig is so sick. Zelig looks so sick these days, and just sort of trails off.
Okay. I want to ask everybody, can we anyone who has an idea for this, how can we tie Zelig into something that's going on? Is Zelig like somebody's child who's otherwise involved in this? Can we tie this in?
We do have a child who was not taken. The younger brother of
Yael.
The younger brother of Yael wasn't taken for the war. Maybe he was not taken for the war for health reasons, or at least that was the supposed reason given. He might have been not taken as a favor to Yael.
And now he's about to die anyway?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah.
And the last thing I want to do is lose him.
Okay. So okay. So Zelig. Oh. Tell me, how's Yael doing? Is she caring for Zelig?
To what extent she can, but she is feeling the pressure of these awful nights as well.
I see.
I feel there are so many who are on the edge.
A beautiful young child, and it would. I know that many people are disturbed that he is so sick, and it would be very good. It would be very good news for everyone if he could be healed. Tova, you are so gifted. Please, you can heal him. I know you can.
Looking over my strong moves right now, seeing if there's anything relevant. All right. I will do my part, she says, looking at you. But all I can ask you, do yours. Find out what is plaguing this this town, and find some way to bring peace to our dead. Or there will be no peace for the living.
Ooh. I feel like that is a prescient line.
Haley, have you got something you're wanting to add?
Yeah, I think if we're getting on to the close of that scene, I wanted to end it with just a group of villagers come to the. I'm going to pick up texts and traditions for this. A group of villagers come to the graveyard to sort of pay respects to the people that they lost in war, like a family, I think, and they look over at Zalman and start whispering to one another, and they have a look of surprise as they can see that Tova is there talking to him, and then they avoid both of you as they walk around to the grave that they're looking for. They keep looking over.
Yeah, I think I really like what Tova just said, that that if I don't, what was it? If I don't save the spirits of the living, the spirits of the dead will haunt me, something like that.
Or that if you don't put the dead to rest, they will drag the living down with them.
Oh, interesting.
That the dead are keeping the living awake at night, and then people are making mistakes and succumbing to pressure and despair.
Yeah. The oh, sorry. Hold on a second. I just want to look at something. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I think maybe that's scene, but I think I kind of want to end on that note. I feel like Zalman feels like he must do something to put the dead to rest. I think there was something very, I don't know, prescient about that, about what Tova said. At least I like that.
I'd like to say that the last thing we see before we cut away is Tova's eyes flick over to the group of villagers and gauge their reaction to the pair of us, and then back to you. And there's a bit of a slight smile on her face. It's a little bit of a wry smile, but you feel like she is identifying some sort of renewed kinship, like a certain respect for the history that she shares with you, even if you're not on good terms right now.
Nice. All right. Let's do a trifle of housekeeping here. Haley, would you tell us, you picked up texts and traditions. What is the desires there?
Of course, division of the forbidden from the permitted, and shared knowledge is the other one that I chose.
Nice. And I want to revisit our scene real quick again, Haley. Did we hit any weak moves there? Because I think we didn't do our setup on that. Do you feel you hit any weak moves in our scene?
Yeah, I had confused the present with the horrors of the past. And accidentally encounter the unseen world.
Very nice. I think that I did. Let's see. I had one. What temptation am I at risk of succumbing to? And react with rigid dogmatism and resentment from when you ripping up the promissory note, and you shouldn't do that. I felt like I hit that. Does everyone agree? That seemed right. Okay. Now, Walter and Will, did we hit any weak moves there?
I would take a point for either or both of succumb to depression, guilt, or shame, and trust someone you shouldn't.
I think I agree with that. Haley, you agree with that? Okay. And Walter, I know you spent a token this time, but you hit any weak moves?
I don't think I did, but I think I set some up to hit me later. So
okay.
Not yet.
And Haley, I don't think you hit one of my rituals. I don't know if I have given you an opportunity to prove yourself to the shtetl. Will someone places themselves under your care, follows your advice?
Well, he hasn't followed my advice yet, but I did tell him a secret that gave him leverage over me.
That's true. So that will give you a lore token there, Will, Tova. And that was a cool scene. I think that brings us back to you again, Walter, to set a scene, doesn't it? Or have I set one? Have I set a seed yet?
I don't think you have. I think it's your turn.
I don't think I have. It is my turn. Yes. Thank you, Haley. I think I'd like to set the scene of, honestly, I think that I want to have Avram and Yale. Isn't that her name, Yale? Yale. I think I want to see a scene between the two of them. Who would like to play her?
I could play Yale.
Excellent. So let's see. Picking up a world on that, I have the unseen at the moment. So let me ask, where do you think you find Yale? Ava?
I think I want to say that he finds her in the marketplace trying to get some medicine for Zelig.
Nice. So, Will, if you'd like to pick up that playbook, I suppose you could, or I could. But we can do that in play. But setting the scene, I believe Yale is there speaking with the apothecary or the doctor that has a setup in the market. And I think the problem is that with so much that has been taken from the town, medicine is one of the things that has definitely been going to the front. So Yale you could tell very clearly that Yale is having trouble finding any medicine. And we'll go with, what do you do, Avram, as you see her over there, probably close to tears?
I think, at first, Avram's face sort of lights up when he spots her, and he moves over towards her, and as he gets closer and sees that she's not, that she is almost crying, he steps forward and says, "Yeah, what is it? What's the matter? What's wrong?"
Yale looks up and looks into your eyes, and her eyes grow wide, and she looks weary. Yale looks wearier than you've ever seen her. It's the first time you've ever seen bags under her eyes. She looks like she hasn't been sleeping. Usually her hair is tied in a nice braid, and the braid is a little bit sort of partly undone. It hasn't been maintained. And she looks up and she sees you. She says, Avram, oh, Avram. And she runs over to you and she puts her head down. She wants to bury her head in your shoulder and cry. Avram.
Avram sort of holds her and
Avram, there's no.
what is it? He's
Avram.
just trying to get out of her.
There's no medicine. Well, there is medicine, but I can't afford it. I mean, they say there's no medicine, but I know there is. I just can't afford it, Avram. There's so little medicine to go around. I don't know what I'm going to do. Zelig's so sick. I fear he's. I fear I fear I need to be back any moment now. I don't know. He hasn't been awake in over a day. He's just sleeping. Avram, I'm so scared.
Avram strides over to the apothecary and says, why did you not sell her medicine?
I'll pick up the playbook of the market then.
I had a point of order. Are you allowed to hold more than one world playbook, or do you have to put down any you're holding?
You have to put down the one you're holding to pick up another one.
Yeah, and Goyish World is right on the edge of being relevant here. So
right. So I'll drop Unseen World and pick up the market. As the apothecary says, by order of the general, medicines are to go to the front. The soldiers are in great need.
What, are you sitting here in the marketplace with nothing to sell? What about our own sick? How can you call yourself a part of this place?
I have things that could perhaps help, but... And he sort of lowers his voice. The boy is very sick.
Avram leans in very threateningly, and he says, like quietly but threateningly, where is it? How can I get it?
If you... Well... an order from the general, or he sort of looks around. There are others that will sell what you want. Their prices are very high.
Give me a name.
In the Goyish village, Ivanovich.
And I think Avram like backs off and like turns back to Yael, but I kind of half imagine that she's like, I don't know how she reacted to all of this.
She's She's in tears.
Ivanovich, what the merchant isn't telling you is that Ivanovich has connections with the Habsburgs. He's a smuggler.
Mm.
I think Avram walks over to Yael and is like, "Let me walk you home. I will get this for you. Don't worry, everything will be fine."
Oh, Avram, thank you so much, but I fear it's too late. Zelig, he may be gone any moment. I don't. Thank you, Avram, but I don't think there's anything you can do. I mean, Avram, Zelig is. The whole village is rooting for Zelig, and it would be amazing if you could do anything to help revive him. The whole village would be grateful. I would be so grateful, but it's too late, Zelig. I'm
Yale,
so sad.
Yale, it might occur to you that General Markov probably has access to medicine.
Hmm. Yeah. I think Yale gets she withdraws from you a little bit, Avram. And she says, Avram, the army has medicine. Can't you go and ask the army? Is there anything you could do? I'm at my end. I feel like I should go to the garrison and beg if I must.
Yael, let me walk you home. Sleep deeply tonight. I'll be back tomorrow with the medicine. I swear it on my life.
I can't go home without the medicine. He needs it now. The garrison, look, the garrison's right over there. Walk me to the garrison. Let me ask them. Let me get down on my knees in front of the general and beg for him to help. Please. I must go. Yale begins walking toward the garrison.
I'm going to use a strong move. How are you vulnerable to me right now?
You're asking Yale?
Mm-hmm.
Well, all right, I'm not 100% sure that I like this, but I'm going to throw something out like this, and feel free to revise this or negate it. But maybe, I don't, like the two of you have already been intimate or something, and it would be bad for her reputation if it got out.
I'm not mad about that. Let's see if we can find something else.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you, though, for being flexible on that.
Let's see. What else? I'm open to suggestions. I'm not coming up with anything at the moment.
There is the promise of marriage as a thing.
Yeah.
So like pulling on the love and commitment you've already made.
Yeah. Yeah. What is the commitment that they've had? We haven't explored that very much. Maybe there's something interesting in that.
I kind of imagine that they're like betrothed. They've been betrothed to each other by the matchmaker before. Like you would have known Avram before he left for the war as a kid, and then they were betrothed when he came back. And I don't necessarily think you know each other that well. So maybe your vulnerability could be the shining light you see for the possibility of a happy future. Like that's kind of getting at what Tyler said.
Like yeah, like you're like Avram is my chance at a happy future.
Would you contrast that by saying that we've never really established how Yale feels about General Markov's affections?
Or if General Markov has even like approached Yale in any particular capacity.
Yeah, if she's aware even.
Yeah, right.
I think that he has made. I think that he has shown interest, but made no overt gestures.
Okay, I like that. I think I think that. So your question is, in what way is she vulnerable to you right now?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that if you, I think she wants to trust you, but she just needs you to take action. And I think if you just take control of the situation, that she will, she'll like basically do what you want. That's not quite the same thing as how is she vulnerable to you, but I think healing her brother is the one thing that she really needs. Like you're looking for something like leverage that you have over her, but I think maybe just like, or okay, maybe I could just pull something out of left field. So okay. So she is she herself has been speaking with spirits, and you know that she is has been like out in the forest basically trying to making offerings to the spirits in the forest, in the woods, to help her save her brother. And this is something you know about her, and that this is not something that's considered appropriate, but there are legends that this might save her brother, that this kind of thing could help. And you know that she's been doing that, even though it's bad that she's been doing that.
Okay, that's good. In that case, Avram says to her, Yael, I know that you would do anything. I know that you have been doing everything. But trust me, you and I are of one mind. I will do everything. You must go home and you must trust me.
But I want to trust you, Avram. But what? There's no time. If we wait till morning, it may be too late.
I will not delay. And then I think he gestures to his gun and says, I will do anything, you must trust me, but you should not be there.
Yes, very well. Please, Avram. Please. And then she turns and runs toward her home.
Scene.
I'd like to, as she's running off, and I imagine Ephraim is watching her go back up in the market. We see an older man being hustled away from one of the stalls by one of the garrison men. No money, no food, move along. And shunted off from the market.
Nice.
Yeah. I think the last thing we see is like Avram like taking this in and like a steel look kind of crossing his face as he turns around and walks out of the marketplace.
Nice.
Oh dear.
Very nice. All right, that was my scene, but how do we think we did on weak moves there? Haley, it's really you, because minor characters don't have moves. Did you hit any?
I demanded an explanation from someone, which is really it.
All right, take one for that. And that will shift over to, I believe it was you next, Walter, I think. Right?
Yeah, that's right. I started. So I'm looking at the time, and we're gonna play for. I mean, we want to wrap up, so maybe we have like a half hour or something. We probably have time for what, 1 or 2 scenes.
I was thinking maybe get one more good scene in, or 2 quick ones.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, how about we all like maybe I'd love to hear everybody just like maybe say something that they'd like to like tie up. Maybe we can find like one theme in particular that we all like to kind of tie up. Something everybody's really interested in.
I think that's a good idea. So Walter, what would you like to see in our little story? Something that has a nice resolution, or at least we get a nice closing on.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot has come around. I feel like a lot's come up around our Yale and Abram going to be married. And I could imagine maybe even like jumping to a scene related to that, right? Or maybe even fast forwarding a bit. Maybe I mean, something we've kind of set up is that Zalman might be marrying Abram and Yale, and maybe that's already happened, and we're like then moving on to like the consequence of that. Does that sound like an interesting place to go? That's my idea, but I'd love to hear what other people think.
That's an interesting thought. Will, what
other ideas completely?
Yeah, Will, what would you like to see maybe wrapped up?
We have a lot of urgency about whether Zelig is going to live or die, and it looks like we've got some dark energy growing about how Avram is going to get medicine on short notice. We've also seen brewing tensions between Avram and the general. I'm starting to wonder if Avram's about to do something unwise to get the medicine.
I also am curious about what would get the medicine. Haley, what do you want to see?
I really want to see Caleb in a bad place. Sorry, having to make a tough choice is what I was trying to say. I really want to see him having to make a tough choice. And I wonder if that can be tied in.
Okay. I could see that as well.
Do we fast forward past Avram's confrontation and deal with the fallout?
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking maybe we want to just like say that a couple things happened and then jump to like an interesting scene.
Okay.
One thing
Sorry.
Oh. So yeah, I'm feeling like the general wants something from both Caleb and Zalman, right? From Caleb, he wants him to what, basically go along with helping out with the confiscations of property. Was that what he was asking of you to do?
Well, of supplies, of resources.
Yeah, and wanted Zalman to basically agree to like lie about the well-being of the dead, which goes in conflict to what Tova wanted. I mean, I'm willing to jump to a place where maybe Zalman's already done that. Maybe even the rabbi's been like moved out of the town. Maybe we're some time later on. I don't know if Zelig survived or not, and what Avram may have done.
Yeah, I think our first and most immediate question might be, Aram, what do you do to go get that medicine?
Yeah. I'm kind of interested, possibly, in like, because we can put like time skips wherever we want, right? We can say the thing with the rabbi is already done, even though it's the same day as the market scene. I'm kind of interested in Avram doing something really reckless and violent, and then the general coming into town to basically arrest him, and or having already arrested him and bringing him into town, and kind of like what happens when that happens. Because I think that the general would expect Zalman to be on his side, and Caleb would be in a tough spot there.
I have an interesting idea for a scene. Yeah, I think Avram has already done something violent, maybe even got the medicine and passed it on to Yale, if we want to fast forward through that. But now Avram is a fugitive hiding under Caleb is hiding Avram, and the general has come to Caleb's house to, knowing that they're related, but also wanting to talk about, their arrangements that they've made previously. Something along those lines might be.
Do you like that idea of hiding with me, or do you think you'd go to the wilderness, or be hiding with? I'm
curious about whether Caleb would hide Avram, especially if he did something reckless and violent. And like, I'm totally happy to say that Avram would hide out there, but I'm wondering what Caleb would do. That's where I'm actually wondering about. There's
a real point for a scene there of Avram showing up at Caleb's door right after having escaped from doing the thing,
and then the general rocking up like just after that.
I like that. Let's play that scene, because that may be a fairly tight scene anyway. All right.
Would you mind if Zalman is accompanying the general?
I think that's great. I think it's perfect.
I think it's perfect as well. All right. Okay. So the scene is you,
Avram knocking on your front door, pushes the door in,
brother,
splattered in blood.
What have you done?
I had to get the medicine. And then he says, quick, and like steps in and closes the door.
And I as you're closing the door, I look out to see if there's anyone there, and lock it behind you.
There are shouts in the distance, but you see no one.
Caleb, they're after me. I don't know what to do. I had to do it. Otherwise, Zelig.
Oh, you tell me you haven't killed anyone, have you?
They take everything from us.
Oh, Ephraim. They will never stop till they find you.
I think there's shouting again in the distance, and it's like, I don't know what to do. What should I do?
And the sound of boots on the street outside.
You must hide. We will find a way to get you out of the steadle, but you can't be found. They'll hang you for sure.
Gloved hand on the door.
I look back, and I think from across the room we see my wife, and there's this like pleading look on my face as I look at her, and we have to hide him.
Avram doesn't wait for a response, but he knows that you have like a celery bit at the bottom of your house, and he just opens up the door and like gives Caleb like one last pleading look and shuts the door with a slam. as he disappears down into darkness.
Another kind of pleading look towards my wife, and then hello, as I open the door.
Yeah, it is General Markov, and he looks harried, as if he's been roused from rest. He's flanked by several soldiers, and you can see a bustle in the street outside him.
And Zelig, right?
And yeah, Selman is
And Zelig.
There's
Or Zelman.
Mhm.
Right. Caleb, I have troubling news to report to you, and your brother, the soldier, he assaulted the garrison earlier today.
But my brother? Surely not, General.
Unfortunately, I have no idea why he would turn so wild.
Are you sure it was him?
I have it on very good authority, Caleb. You must understand. He's killed 2 men. Is that acceptable? I understand that. We are turning out. We are turning out the town. We are trying to find him. Will you assist us in this?
Yes, of course. I now look across and seeing Zelman there. He would surely go to hide or to leave the village entirely. We should search on the outskirts, the farms.
Yes. He's very smart, young man. If he has done this thing, I imagine he has long left the village.
You will, of course, the general nods gravely, hearing at this, and says, "Even so, to be safe, we will station troops here in your house tonight. Surely you understand. Surely you understand, Caleb."
Well, of course, but if we are to find him, and as much as it pains me, I cannot allow even my own brother to go without punishment. Every person must be sent. Everyone must search. Can you spare even one man? And I'm attempting to use a strong move here, to use reason and learning to persuade someone. Every possible soldier must comb the countryside.
Yes. It's and it's also, well, General, you've said before that you brought me here to. Actually, wait a minute. I'm sorry. You know what? You're using your strong move. I'm sorry. I totally am interrupting that. I don't need to. I'm sorry. Go on. Take it away, General.
All right. You can tell that the general is not entirely. You can tell that he's sort of running through the possibility that you could be harboring your brother, and that you're not entirely innocent of that possibility. But you can see his words taking effect on him.
And I'll have the door open as wide as possible, so looking in, you can see the empty room.
Mm-hmm.
Not that means much, but it's the inviting look of course my house is open, but surely we must act quickly.
He slowly nods and looks apologetically at your wife, and then says, "Come then, sir. We have a village to search," and gestures you out the door.
is that seen, we think?
I have to imagine it's seen unless something goes sideways right now.
Right. I think that answers our question of what would Caleb do. So, all right. So I think we have the Trump out. All right. So it moves us to our next and probably final scene. I like the thought of, we've, just as a suggestion, we've given the chance for Aaron, I always say everybody's name wrong on Avram, to get away. We've moved the troops off. We're searching about. You have time to try to make some escape. I want to make maybe the suggestion that heading out into the woods towards the front is probably the best way to escape, because if you could get to enemy lines and to the other side, you're definitely out of the clutches of the general. Now, I don't know if that's what you'd want to do, or if you would go to your love, or what you would do, but I love the thought of bringing the war into the picture a little bit.
Zalman has promised Avram a secret wedding, and at this point, it's going to have to be a secret wedding, considering Avram is a fugitive from justice. So is Yale willing to follow Avram wherever he's going next?
Yeah, Haley, what you think? You're very central to this. So what's your thought for Avram?
Avram would definitely go to visit Yale. I don't know whether or not, I mean, it's up to whoever plays Yale as to what they would do, because I don't know how they would receive. He's still splattered in blood. Now the entire village is searching for him, and they know that he's the one that took the medicine that, Zelig has, right? It's messy.
If Avram goes to Yale's place, Tova will be there.
That's perfect. That's exactly what I was going to suggest.
Yeah.
And I'll put down Goyish World because I'm going to be in the scene.
All right. So that leaves me and you, Walter, to cause some trauma when the time comes. But okay, so let's frame scene then of Avram rushing, hiding, making way to the house.
There he comes in through the window.
You want to play Yale? You've played her before, Walter, or
okay, yeah, I can play Yale again.
Okay.
So yeah, I think you come in the window and you see Yale with Tova, probably putting a wet washcloth on Zelig's fevered forehead.
God be praised you came across this. He's still very ill, but I think he may come through. Only time will tell. If only he can sleep.
Oh, Avram, what have you done? You're covered in blood, Avram. What have you done?
Tova's eyes are wide and her nostrils flare.
You have to come with me. We have to go now.
Where would we go? Avram, you brought the medicine. I'm so grateful. Avram, I shouldn't. I want to come with you, but Avram, what's going to become of you? Avram, what did you do?
Avram looks at Tova and says, I got it. The medicine, it's all gonna be alright, isn't it?
She nods slowly.
Yeah, I
Tova?
need to.
Tova, what should I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, Tova. Is Zella going to be all right? Do you think it's safe for me to leave him to go with Avram? I think
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna play a strong move here. Actually, is this? I don't know if this is actually a strong move for me. I think it's just take action. So it's just a regular move. If you are gone, he will be safe with me. Until you return.
Avram shakes his head. If you
Avram,
come with me, we cannot return. Yeah, like,
I'll
I
never
don't
be able to see Zelig again.
I don't want to take you where you do not want to go.
Avram, I always imagined us living here in the village. We would have a house nearby. We would have children. We'd take them to the market and they'd be blessed by the rabbi. Avram, what would our
Yeah,
life be like if we left the shtetl?
I am a soldier. I do not know these kinds of things. Just living life, it is not the life that has chosen me. And I think he starts to back away at that point, and I think like, you know, again, you can hear the sounds of people moving through the village, and he says, yeah, like, I did what I could for you. I did the right thing. Now I've got to go.
Yale. Sometimes we can't choose what life brings us. Sometimes all you can do in the moment is trust to the living. She looks at you. She looks at Yale meaningfully.
Avram, take me with you.
Yeah. And Avram steps forward and, like, gives her a really tight, close hug, and I think he is almost crying. And then, like, he opens the window and says, "We have to go now." And he climbs out of the window.
I picked up the playbook of the Goyish world. Out on the street, you hear, "Someone saw him go this way!" And you hear boots tromping on the street out front of the house.
Yale takes a hold of your hand as you're going out the window, Avram. Yale says, "Take me with you."
Avram pulls her through the window.
There's a heavy knock on the door. "Open up in the name of the Tsar!"
This is a house of illness, I call out. I will not have you disturb the peace of those within.
"Open the door, or we will kick it in."
Let's see.
I could use a strong move to get out of harm's way, but it feels like I'm, like,
I'm looking at that too. We both have that move, and yet I'm having
Everybody
a hard time
has that move,
justifying
yeah.
it.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's now or never, right? I mean, we're kind of getting to where we're like borderline epilogue anyway, right?
I think if we're happy with wrapping up, we can just disappear into the forest.
And I think the
Yeah.
heavy thump on the door as the two of you disappear into the night. Is
Tova
that-
moves to stall them. Yeah.
And I think that's our image of the two of them heading into the woods. So yeah, let's give one last moment, one last little look at what we see from them, however long after this. Zelman, what do we see last from you?
So okay, from Zalman. Well, so the yeah, I think Zalman basically. I think Zalman goes through with his deal with the general and probably and like says that everything's going to be okay, the children are going to be all right, and I think he thinks he's going to become the next rabbi, but then Tova's words come to pass, and by betraying the souls of the dead, the living do not support him, and he is not supported as a rabbi in any way, shape, or form. He's just the old crank who kind of lives on the edge of town at best.
Lovely. I think we see Caleb, and I believe Hannah is the name of my wife, and we're sitting by the light of a lamp, reading a letter, and both of us are crying. But Hannah looks at me. He's alive. He's alive. Captured, but alive. He's alive. As we hug each other. And the letter falls down to the table, and we see that our son is captured by the Habsburgs and currently a prisoner of war. Tova.
We see Tova. We see Tova working in her shop. She looks more haggard than she has been before. It looks like she's still not sleeping well. And she's mixing up a poultice for someone. And we pan over to her back room where the Goyish girl, who's hiding in her house is rocking. Well, how old is Zelig? Zelig's not a child. Okay, so the Goyish girl is in the back seat. The Goyish girl is in the back of the house, tending to Zelig, who is still recovering.
Nice.
I think of Avram. What we see is we see soldiers mingling and milling about, and it's clear that these are Habsburg soldiers, not Tsarist soldiers. And we see Avram and Yael hungry and making their way through. And one of the soldiers turns to Avram and is like, "Hey, you! What are you doing? Aren't you meant to be carrying that over there?" And Avram's like, "What?" And the soldier's like, "Go help the others. Hurry up." And so Avram kind of gets conscripted by the Habsburgs.
Oh wow.
Love
nice
it.
twist.
Love it. And that is our dream apart. That was lovely. Thank you all for playing.
Thank
We've
you.
got just a few minutes, so why don't we do a very quick I like for when it's a one-shot of roses and thorns rather than a stars and wishes. Stars and wishes always feels to me like a middle of a thing, whereas roses and thorns seems to encapsulate an end. So, roses and thorns. Thorns are things that about the game, about how if I was GMing, but in it could be something on how I facilitated, or it could even be something on a this could have gone different. This could have played out different. But we do thorns first, and then we'll go to roses, which we hand out roses because it's upbeat and it's a way to end happy, where we say things about the game or each other that we thought were really spectacular. So I'll start with thorns. I will say that this game, I think, needs more time than 3 to 4 hours. I don't see how anybody can get through that world build and get a big, huge story. We did a hell of a job, and we have a lot of threads hanging. But I wouldn't give up the world build for it. I really love all the stuff beforehand, but I think running it a one-shot is really, really hard. So there's a little thorn on that. And, part of that could be to me, maybe I could be much tighter in what it is. But as a one shot, it's very hard to do, I think. Will, any thorns that you have?
I guess I could see how making sure the world building is very tightly focused around some core concepts, which we sort of did with the war. But we also had the love triangle that didn't really fold into it. I know there was a lot of, maybe a lot of when building the characters, sort of making sure that they all get tied into 1 or 3 story beats just to keep things snappy. That's just my thought as to just see how much we could streamline the character building directly into, we've only got 5-6 scenes, let's make the most of them.
Excellent. Thank you. Haley, any thorns?
Yeah, I agree with you in that there is so much here, and it's really challenging to do a single session. I'm so interested in what this game is like when you have more time.
I agree. Thank you. And Walter, any thorns?
Yeah, I just kind of, it's interesting. Just kind of echoing what everybody says. It's interesting that it the book seems to indicate that it's meant for one shots in 3 to 4 hours. But I'm gonna have a slightly different thorn, which is for me, something I found challenging was staying staying in the moment in the scenes, and yet also thinking about my moves and sort of because I felt like by the time the scene was framed, we jumped right into the scene, and I didn't have a whole lot of time to think about my moves ahead of time. I don't know. It just felt like I was taken out of the scene when I was trying to figure out how to put my moves in. And a part of me wanted to just be forget all the moves. I don't care about the moves. I just want to play the scene, totally free form.
Shtetl fiasco.
Yeah. Basically, that's that. It was a struggle for me to be all right, I'm supposed to do this move thing, but I was really pulled by that. It didn't feel natural.
I hear where you're coming from, and thank you. And someone mentioning Fiasco, this game does feel a lot like Fiasco to me in some ways. It is very free-formy, causing your own troubles sort of game, which isn't a bad thing. At all, but trying to keep it feels like to me it wants to explore for a while. And I think in that case, you would be able to be more luxuriant and not have to think about moves. You could be more scene oriented and just I don't know, play with it a bit more. I don't know. That's my thought. Still, though, let's give some roses out. Walter, let's come back down from you. What roses have you got, if any?
Sure. One rose I want to give out is to Haley for noping my suggestion about the vulnerability of Yale being something about, like, you know, a shaming or whatever. I was like, it kind of didn't feel right, but I was like, for whatever reason, it's the only thing I could think of at the moment. And I'm glad you were just like, no, let's do something else. So thank you for that.
Thank you for being cool with it and just being like, yeah, all right, let's keep
Yeah,
going.
it was the right thing. I was, I'm really glad you said that, actually. We came up with something better. And yeah, so yeah, I loved all the scenes. I loved generally my rose is like how kind of tightly we tied everybody together. I thought we had some lovely interactions with between the characters, Zalman and Tova, and Abram and Caleb. Those were really great interactions. Those were my roses.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. Haley, roses.
I really liked everyone's characters, but my roses generally to how well everyone played the setting elements. I don't know, I can't remember. World, that's the one. The world. And particularly Will, with you playing the Goyish world and taking on the role of the general and bringing that into the story. That was really great.
Absolutely.
And the letter was genius.
Thank you very much, Haley. Will, roses.
That letter was genius. I agree with that. I appreciated that how provocative that was in the first scene. That Tyler, you were able to slide that in, and suddenly you have Zalman and Avram making weak moves at each other, sort of spiraling off of that, going into a place that neither of them necessarily wants to be. Also, I really liked the tension between Caleb and Avram in the second scene with the general coming in, because we could see a lot of Caleb's vulnerability, and I really like how that came across in your presentation. I like how this game can generate tight spots with a bit of provocation.
Excellent. Thank you very much. My roses for the game, I'll say here, after playing it twice and me saying I think GMless games tend to be meandering, there's something really special in this. It just makes you really start thinking in that character's mindset. And I think it's that world build. Those questions and the things you build up for those characters are so evocative that by the time you get into play, you really have a pretty good idea of motivation. So I think that's very nicely done. I loved how all of you played your characters. Walter, I liked Zelman, but I'll be honest, you as the love interest was phenomenal as well. I thought that you did such a good job with her. She was sweet and at the same time driven. I mean, there was something very strong in her willingness to do anything for her brother, and that was kind of cool. But I thought you were excellent in both those. Haley, that was wonderful role play all across. Such good decisions, such neat things, and really ended up being very much the action heart of our story. That was what drove us along, and thank you for that, because again, having someone who'll pick up the reins and really push us is needed in these sort of games, and you were so spot on. And Will, it was lovely playing with you. I played with these two plenty of times before. I knew how awesome they were. You were absolutely phenomenal. I loved how you did the general. I thought Tova was really sweet and really an interesting person, the sort of person that you kept wanting to know more about. You really embodied cool drives with her, but at the same time, it was like there's a whole huge story we're not even getting to just scrape the beginning of that I want to know more about. So it was really, really fun. And Final Rose, I'm really pleased that y'all were, that y'all played this, and that over and over it keeps on being a fun game. So I would like to see it done in 3 or 4 sessions probably, and see what that does. I think it could be really magnificent. So thank you all. Thank you, Avery Alder, and thank you, Benjamin Rosenbaum, for making this phenomenal game. And thank you for GauntletCon for letting us get all together to play it. I'm going to end the broadcast for those of you who happen to be watching, and if you enjoyed it, watch more.